Hey, what's up, guys? This is your girl Coco, and I want to welcome you to another episode of Kikiing with Coco. If you are new to the show, let me tell you a little bit about it. Basically, it is about life in general with an emphasis on relationships. And I have my friends, guests, family come on the show, and we basically kiki about whatever the topic of the day is. And so this week, there is no guest because this is the final episode of 2020. I couldn't be more proud of myself for doing this and just super thankful and grateful for my friends, people that I literally linked up with on social media to come on the show and kiki with me. And so, because of you guys, you have, and of course, y'all that are listening, y'all have made this show everything I could have wished for. And so, I'm just gonna go ahead and get into what this episode is about. And so, this episode is basically just gonna be snippets of the highest listened to episodes this season, or episodes like some of my favorite episodes. And so I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. And the first part of the show is gonna be the drink with Coco. This drink was recommended by one of my best friends, Andrea. And so I'm gonna go ahead and play this episode for you guys, play a snippet of this episode for you guys. Fourth, I am single and I am open to dating. I'm not necessarily dating right now, but I am open to it, and I am 32. Next, I have Chastity. Chastity, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Chaz. Coco just had me on her show a couple weeks ago, but I am back again to kind of talk about another thing that I'm very vocal about, or just have a pretty wide range of a perspective on is relationships. So I am Chaz. I'm 31. Originally from Chicago, and I am currently single, but I am not in the dating market right now. And I guess just a little bit about me and what I do professionally. I'm in corporate America. I'm in the automotive industry, and I also kind of dibble in some side businesses on the side, from travel to real estate to investing. So that's just a little bit about me in a nutshell.
Okay, and then next we have John. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself, give us some background, and what your relationship status is.
Uh, I'm John. I'm from Chicago. I'm 34 years old, and I am currently single and dating.
And that's not exclusive dating, right? You're not
Yes,
exclusively dating anyone.
correct.
Okay. Drea? That was my favorite drink. And I think that is definitely a good drink when you trying to turn up with your friends. You know what I'm saying? Trying to start the night off. So try that drink. Let me know how y'all feel about it. Next, we gonna go into the highest listen episode thus far, and that is episode 1 of Kikiing with Coco. And I say thank y'all for sticking with me because that episode was rough. But basically, that episode kind of just told like what my relationship history kind of was. And so let me let y'all tune in. And I think both me and Lala can agree to exiting relationships and just moving on to greater things.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's true for me. Being in a relationship, I was married for about 6 years, and I feel like once I ended my marriage, I was in a rough patch. Like I was just dating the wrong people. However, I just think that it was a change in tide. I think the past 2 years I've been so focused on being single and focusing on myself. And once I took the time to love myself, I tapped into my creative ability. My business expanded, work. I excelled in my job and my career because I had a feeling of self worth. So like once I knew what I was worth, I wouldn't take any shortcuts. I wouldn't accept less than what I deserved.
Facts. I myself have been married. Mine was not as long as hers, but I had a good year run. And basically, once that marriage was over, like, same with me, I excelled at work. I doubled down with school, like, got so much closer to finishing my degree when it was all said and done. Ended up getting a promotion out of it because in the midst of me just trying to like grind at work and just take my mind off of what it was I was going through at home, like I just doubled down and did what I had to do. And like I said, I got a promotion out of it. I ended up moving someplace new with that promotion. And, it was just super good to know, like, once I pour all that energy from my marriage into myself and realizing, like, I needed to invest that time in myself. It was definitely, unfortunately, I had to go through what I went through to come to that realization. But basically, just pouring all that energy into myself was what I think what pushed me to realize, like, self love is just super important, because at the end of the day, I was just like, all I have is me. I don't have anybody else to depend on. So if I pour all that energy into myself, like, it's just going to reflect in everything that I do. Now, the next highest listened to episode, which was a really good episode, and I enjoyed Dub Cito when he came on and gave his perspective on life and its entanglements. Which the conversation stemmed from the situation going on between Will Smith and Jada Pinkett at the time. And yeah, I think it shed some light on their relationship, but I'm gonna let y'all know what my thoughts was. So listen.
I'm gonna start by saying I think they are covering something up still. And when they say we were broken up or we were, separated, that's why she was able to do her. Uh, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I think that August is a result of their open relationship.
Facts, same.
And August couldn't keep his little hot girl mouth shut. And now they have to deal with this publicly. So I still believe that Will and Jada have this established life partnership, open relationship that they defined that works for them. And it should have never been public because the public just ain't ready to handle that. And because of what just happened, I feel like their best way to save face was to say they were separated, and that's how it went down. So then it looks like Jada didn't cheat, or they don't have an open relationship, or they're not swingers. This was just a bumpy part in their marriage, and then she went and did what she did, and then they reconciled their marriage. That looks better to everybody who thinks in a traditional sense of what marriage and love should be.
Right.
But the reality is, Will and Jada is not traditional. They are not conventional. They are out the box. They are unorthodox. They are a life partnership, and they have navigated love in the public eye for over 25 years. And I admire them for that. Like, they gave me so much of a different look, to for me to aspire to. Like, I still want a Will and Jada love. You probably seen the memes where they like, yo, J. Cole, you still want that Jada and Will love?
Yeah.
And he like, nah. I'm different though. I do, and I want it even more now. I always, I've been reading between the lines between their relationship for a while, and I don't know if you remember a year and a half ago when they had their first Red Table Talk. Did you ever see that?
Yeah, I saw the first one.
And to me, that was amazing. Like, I actually pulled my phone out and took notes on it because that's how interesting it was to me. But I literally wrote in my phone that, they were able to like tap dance around some things where they said they actually came out and said they weren't swingers, but they didn't say they didn't have an open relationship. there was a point where, she was like, even if I live on this side of the house and you got to live on that side of the house, we gonna still be in the same house and we gonna make this work.
Yeah.
Like that was her, to me, alluding to the fact that they have been in situations where they do their own thing, but they still love each other. They still raise a family. And to me, that was them admitting that they do have an open relationship. And now fast forward to August coming out, this is just proof.
Right.
But it works for them. It works for them. And so
and he was collateral damage.
August is collateral damage, right? And he got emotional and he fell in love and he got cut off. And that's that. But to comment on this other piece that everybody is saying how sad Will looked. And I didn't notice it at first, but he did look sad. And so I started thinking, was Will sad because of what Jada did with August? My answer is no. I don't think that's the case, because if they have an open relationship, then you are prepared for that. You know that she's doing something.
Right.
Whether you know about it specifically or not, you know that something is going on and you have given that blessing, which is why August said he got the blessing. What Will is mad about is the fact that he got to deal with this petty shit on the world stage because you couldn't control your hoe.
Right, because they did talk about how everybody done made it their business and it ain't none of their business, but here we are.
Exactly. And that's why Will was like, oh, I'm gonna get you back. And she was like, you already got me back, which that part was super interesting to me too, because I feel like they were very professional and like when they speak publicly, they've been doing it, right? They've been stars
like
for a long time.
They got this shit down pat.
They do. But when she said one thing, to me, it felt unpacked. When he was like, oh, I'm gonna get you back.
And she said, you already did that. So I know Dubcito did the majority of the talking in that little snippet, but his words were my exact thoughts about Will and Jada's situation. I think that they definitely have an open relationship, but that was just the only way that they could put it to make it sound acceptable to everybody else. But now that we done kind of talked about life and its entanglements, we about to get into some interracial dating from a Black woman's perspective, which I know y'all got some thoughts on that. So listen in. So I think Black women get it worse than Black men. Like, and I probably feel that way just because I feel like it's been so much more common for Black men to date outside of their race, and those type of comments I feel like come from Black women who are bitter that they've chosen to fall in love with somebody else. And I get the concept of feeling like, you know, the good Black men don't want the good Black women, they want the white women. Just speaking from a place of, you know, feeling like I would have been a better fit for somebody over a white woman, but just growing and maturing and understanding that ain't it. You know what I'm saying?
And that's all it is, growth and maturity, because like you said, that's just somebody being bitter to look at somebody else's relationship and being like, because the grass is not always green on the other side. Like, I have looked at plenty of relationships like, he should have been with me, blah, blah, blah. Even the past ones, because I ignore all the red flags that don't have nothing to do with him being Black. That just, I knew he wasn't nothing when I got with him. Like, but I still was madly in love with him. And that's not because he's Black. It just didn't work out. Like, me being with my husband, God forbid it don't work out, I'm not gonna be like, I knew I shouldn't have been with these white men. Like, he is not all men. So it's not the end all be all, and not gonna be like, these white men gonna treat me so good. There's Black men out there treating their wives just as good too. So and it's a white man that's, I mean, I've seen Snapped. We saw Get Out. Like, it can go either way in these relationships. And I don't think the skin color has anything to do with it. That's just the mindset that has been placed on us for you.
And I know, but the reason I say Black women, I think, get it harder is I think the only thing said about Black men who date white women or women outside of their race is that, oh, he a traitor, whatever, whatever. But then when black women date outside of their race, and don't let it be a white man, because then you bring all those slavery connotations into the conversation, like, oh, you ain't nothing but his bed wench, stuff like that. And I feel like it's more hurtful things that I said.
They do say hurtful things, but I also feel like it becomes, at least in my eyes, when white black men have commented on my relationship, I feel like it's more of a competition thing. Now, what can he do for you that we ain't doing it? I know he ain't doing it like we do it, blah, blah, blah. He ain't got this. And I just don't know why that was your mindset automatically. Like, that's why are you worried about the sex that we haven't? Because, and why is this a competition? I feel like that's what I have heard more of. And it's probably our people behind the scenes saying things more slavery related, because I know, like, Tia or Tamara Mowry, when she said people call her the white man's whore. I ain't never heard nothing like that, and for good reason, because don't ever come at me with that. But because no, no.
So that was Alex's take on interracial dating, because she is in an interracial marriage, and I want to say congratulations, because her and her hubby are having a baby. So I definitely can't wait to see y'all baby in 2021, girl. But now we're gonna move over into so this was my first episode talking about sex, like just full-fledged talking about sex. I think I allude to sex a lot in my conversations, but this one was solely about sex and sex drives. So I think y'all can hear the uncomfortability in the conversation, but listen, I was not comfortable. And I actually asked the question on Reddit, like how often should people have sex, or do they have sex? Not necessarily how often should they have sex. And of course, a lot of people were saying, it's dependent upon the people in the relationship, whatever. But a lot of the comments that I got was, 3 to 4 times a week, 1 to 6 times a week. But a lot of people was really saying, like, as many times as possible, they can have sex. And
Mm-hmm.
so so yeah, it was like 2 times a day. I'm like, 2 times a day? Like,
Okay,
bruh.
so okay, so don't judge me, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm about to say, like, I'm all for 2 times a day, probably 3 times a day.
Oh,
But
yeah.
so 2 to 3 times a day for me, because like I think I enjoy sex, but not the actual act, but the build up to the act, the foreplay, the intimacy, the whatever you guys do before the actual penetration. I love it. I just love it. I love it. So, for me, 2 to 3 times a day isn't bad, but I would say two because I don't think I've met that man who matches up my sexual energy. So, two would be fine. Two each day. And I'm a very, very, very lovable person. So even when
Mm-hmm.
I say, let's just have sex once a day, and then he sees me and he wants to do it all over again. And if I like you, you don't even need to say anything to me. Just points at me and I'm ready to go. I'm ready
Mm-hmm.
to go. Yeah. So it has a lot to do with the person, the other person you're in a relationship with. And if the sex is great, trust me, you would lose count. You would forget about how many times should we be doing this in a day.
So
So
I
for me, I think two is fine. Two is fine because sex helps your relationship. So two is fine. Two is fine, except you're just both tired.
2 a day.
Yeah, 2 days is fine.
Okay. So for me, I think because the majority of the time I am single, so I'm not necessarily in a committed relationship or,
Hmm.
whatever. So it's not like I'm getting sex regularly. So
Okay,
then
so
it's just
we're in the
like,
same boat.
when I do get it, it's typically on the weekends because, people work during the week. And
Yeah.
then, so then it's kind of just like, I'm good for maybe like once or twice a week if I'm
Yeah.
getting it on a regular basis. And that's
Mhm.
like one or two times, not in a day, but like maybe Friday night
Mhm.
and Sunday
Mhm.
count as the one
Yeah,
and the
that's
two.
I understand you and I agree with you. So I'm also in that kind of situation where I'm not actually in a committed relationship most times. I'm
Hmm.
single, and like you said, which is true, people work during the week, so there's no time for that. But when I am in a committed relationship and when, well, probably I would see you during the weekend still.
Hmm.
So when I see you during the weekend, oh, we're gonna make up for during the week. We're going to make up for during the week, but I think it's still gonna be like twice, 4 times that weekend, 4 times that weekend. I'm not
Four
gonna
times
lie,
that weekend.
4 times that weekend. But I have to be crazy about you. I have to be very, very crazy about you for it to be
Hmm.
4 times. Yeah. If I'm not crazy
Yeah.
about you, I think like it will be half of a round. I would be like, you know what, just get up. Thank you. Thank you. Like I thought I was gonna enjoy this, but nah. So
Yeah.
yeah, I agree.
Hmm. Yeah, I think yeah, for those people who aren't in committed relationships, I think at a max, like when you just think about people's schedules, taking that into account, like weekends is probably like prime time. And then
Hmm.
if you really like that person, you can definitely get the maximum amount out of them. And then if it's kind of just like just a hookup, then maybe not so much. So shout out to my homegirl Diana over in Nigeria. I appreciate you, girl, for being on that episode. I think you definitely made me feel comfortable talking about sex. Cause if y'all noticed the was a whole bunch, that let you know I was nervous. But now for the next episode, I had a panel of people come on the show, and it was a group of my friends that were on the show kikiing about, relationships. So it's about five of us talking about this topic. And mirror, mirror, am I what I'm asking for? Am I looking at what I'm asking for? Basically saying, like, you asking for your man to be this. Are you that for him? Or, vice versa. So let's get into it.
To me, physical is important because you ain't gonna be able to stay with somebody if you're not sexually attracted to them
Mm,
on their good days and their bad days.
mm. That's
So I
that.
don't know, like y'all point of view on the physical, but if you gonna if you gonna sleep with this person for the rest of your life, you can't be like, oh well, his dick ain't that with it, or something of that nature. Like that's important. Like
Facts. Okay.
I mean,
so when it comes to y'all physical, like what's y'all deal breakers on that?
Well, wait a minute, but physical is important too, not just for the
now I'm
looks,
not
but for health
saying,
too.
Yeah,
yes,
but
no,
What
I'm
I'm
about
not saying that looks are not important.
Right.
Whoever I
yeah?
decide to be with, I am going to be physically attracted to.
Attracted to them. Correct. Yes.
But I just know I need to, along with that physical attraction, I need to be mentally stimulated as
Hmm.
well.
Yep. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially,
I agree.
everything needs to be
Yeah,
on
all of
I
that.
point.
I agree with
Yeah.
you on the whole mentally stimulated. Yeah, that's really big for me. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I've dated, somebody that looks like they should be in a magazine a few times, and that usually don't do it for
they're
me,
probably dumb as
right?
hell.
Yeah, it's not a it ain't it, a lot of the
What's
times
up there?
it's not a whole lot going on
Mhm.
upstairs. And what I've come to find out is that people that are like very attractive, right? Like very
Hmm.
attractive people, over the long run, you know, it's hard to keep those people satisfied and happy, right?
Mm.
You have a person
They got
that's with
options.
They got they can have options if they're single,
Yeah.
but you have a person
When
that's
they
been
dating too.
you have a person that's been given preference since they were a very small child, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so
True.
that gives them a complex. Now, not everybody that's very attractive is like that, but people who are very attractive, I think over the long haul, it's a little bit harder to satisfy, that person's ego, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
that person's expectation. So I still need to be attracted to you, but you know, you ain't got to look like you're supposed to be in a magazine, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if I can have both, that'll be
The
best
bomb.
case scenario for me. Yeah, that'll be the bomb. Yeah.
I guess to like Drea's question, I personally, the only, I guess, non-negotiable I have physically is like I personally couldn't date a guy that was like huge. Like,
So there was so much more that went along with that conversation, but thank you to Chas, John, Drea, and Loretta for doing that episode with me. It was definitely enlightening to hear a male's perspective on the things that he considers important in a relationship. And now that we done kind of talked about what we think is important in a relationship, how about that casual dating status? How many of us out here are casually dating? And we wondering like, the double standard of if men can do it, why can't women do it? So Latrice, Tiara, and myself about to talk about women being able to casually date.
Get to that point where what it is that you want, then you date that person. But I feel like guys want women to go through an audition. You gotta cook, you gotta clean, you gotta be bomb in the bedroom. And all the while they texting 5 or 6 people or they're doing their own thing. If you're honest and you're upfront, I think that you should casually date. It's like, why if I meet a guy on Saturday and we go on a couple dates and all of a sudden
You
when
can't
I
do
see a
nothing.
fine dude walking down the street, I can't shoot my shot. No, I don't think it should work like that. I feel like until you get to that point where you two are saying, hey, we're in a committed monogamous relationship, then you should be free to do it. And I just hate how the media does it. They don't ever blast Diddy. I never hear Diddy on the Breakfast Club. Like, oh yeah, Diddy was spotted with a new chick. This is his 5th one this year. But Meg Thee Stallion broke up with somebody. He was out enjoying life as a woman, a young woman, and all of a sudden they like, oh, she a hoe, she just out here, she getting passed around. Houseway, like, and she didn't even confirm it. It's like, as a woman, you cannot go out with male friends and party and dance and enjoy yourself without being linked to them or being linked as a hoe.
My thing is too, if she was fucking all of them, and so
I,
what? Who's
me
talking about
personally,
coochie?
facts. Personally, I am all for casual dating. I am a serial casual dater. Sometimes not by choice, but that's just how it end up happening. But I can appreciate being able to casually date because I feel that it's giving me an opportunity to see what it is that I actually like, what qualities is it that I like in a man. Now, do I casually date multiple people at a time? No, because I don't got the mental capacity for it. It's a lot of work to juggle multiple people at a time. So I definitely personally prefer to just talk to one person at a time. Then that way I can really focus on what it is I like about the person, what it is I don't like about the person, and what are the deal breakers with that person. So I feel casual dating is a must. As a 32-year-old woman, I can say I'm happy that I've had the opportunity to date as I have, because at this point, I feel like whoever it is I end up with, it'll be the right circumstances. So, yeah,
It'll be the right circumstances because you were allowed those opportunities to go through different like experiences and stuff. Like you said, to find out what you like, what you don't like, so you know what to put up with, what you can tolerate, what you gonna be like, nah, pack it up. once you know that, then it's easier to have those long lasting, strong relationships with somebody, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like, especially while you're young, like, I am personally no advocate for leaving your mama house and going to live with a man. I remember my mother being like, we not going to condone you living with no man if you're not married, whatever, whatever. But when I left home, I wasn't concerned about moving in with no man because in my head, I'm like, I just left her house. Now I could do what I want to do when I want to.
Right.
I ain't got nobody questioning me about where I'm going, who I'm with, when I'm coming back. So it was literally for me like it was freedom. And even though when you're in a relationship, you don't have to you don't have to tell that person, where you going, who you with, when you coming, like, but it's a respect thing. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
And that was something that I did not want to deal with when I first left home. Like, I was like, I'm free. I could do what I want. So it was like when I got older and I did get into a relationship, like I was cool with being able to tell that person, like, yeah, I'm going to the mall with my homegirls, or we going out for drinks, or whatever the case
Yeah.
may be, and be okay with that because I had that opportunity to casually date and do me and live my life without it being like I'm constantly needing to check in with somebody. But yeah, that, so casually dating I feel like is a must for anybody. Men gonna do it regardless. So women, I just say don't be afraid to go out there and date because you owe it to yourself to do so. Like,
Do whatever make you happy.
now that we done kind of talked about casually dating, and when you casually dating, that don't mean you sleeping with everybody. And so now I'm going to get into this conversation with my homegirl Melanie about waiting until marriage. I know that is a very outdated outlook to look at the situation, but sometimes waiting until marriage is necessary. Made it okay for us to have premarital sex and
Mm-hmm.
all the stuff that we do in today's society. But her perspective is waiting until marriage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's it. That really is it. It, it's funny that that you said that, because the truth is, even if you were raised with that mentality, of course we veer from it. And, like, everybody makes mistakes. And so the goal at the beginning, at the time, like when you're born, your goal is to wait to have sex, until you get married. And, just kind of like, abstinence. We preach abstinence. But, what the blog that I have, it basically is for people who are abstinent, but people who have chosen the path, to be celibate and to start all over. And so that's really, what it's about, and waiting for the right guy. Like, stop dealing with losers. Pretty much. Yeah.
So I have read your blog, and it is
Mm.
definitely, I think, an inspiration, and I would recommend you guys to go and check it out, even if you don't subscribe to this ideology, but just to get a different perspective, or to incorporate some of those things from what she's doing. And so one of the blogs that you wrote was titled "Refuse the Test Drive."
Uh-huh.
So, of course, refusing a test drive, we all like to use that saying, I need to test drive it before I buy it. I need
Right.
to test drive it off the lot first before
Mm-hmm.
I, decide to get married. So how did you come to this place where you wanted to refuse the test drive, or has this just been like, this is how you were raised and this is what you stuck with?
Okay. Well, so, as I was saying, earlier, it really the intention was to, be celibate and live this life of, abstinent and live this life of, no sex and all that stuff. But of course, you go through things in life. Knowing my story, I was married before, and in getting married, I tried to do all the things, right. And then got married to this guy who, 3 months in decided, to cheat and go outside of our marriage. And so with that said, it, tore me down to the point where I was like, man, I hate marriage. I hate love. I hate all this stuff. And I had to understand and kind of like change my perspective of what marriage was, but not just that, why I even got into this relationship in the first place. And the biggest thing was, the premarital sex, the things that, kind of drew me to him, doing the things backwards, I guess, things that I was taught, to go one way, but I kind of veered off and started doing it backwards. And so I kind of got to the place where I was like, you know what, I don't want to do that anymore. And I don't want to, go that direction, because all it did was, brought me grief. So I decided that I'm not about to, be giving myself just to any old body. And so that's really honestly where that concept came from. I dated a guy who, after, being married and going through what I went through, I was like, okay, I'm ready to, jump back into the dating game, and dated this guy who was like, he believed everything opposite of what I believed in. But he was a great guy. He just wanted me to move in and, let's, try, let's play, play married, let's do all the things except, having the, the
Actual
what is it?
title of being married.
Right. The title and the commitment. So let's do all that. So, and I was like, yeah, I'm not for that. That just doesn't even that's not even fun for me. You want to just play around, and that's not fun. And shortly after that, we broke up.
Melanie's perspective was definitely needed to be added into the conversation, because I think we put so much emphasis on we need to test drive it that we are not focusing on the other areas of our building those parts of our relationships, like the spiritual, the emotional aspect of it, because we so caught up in the physical part of it. And so I thank her for coming and, talking about waiting until marriage with me. And now we're going to move into another topic that I think has hit us really hard during this trying year of, just a trying year of struggle. Not only are we in a pandemic, but we also had police brutality play a role in the mental aspects of what we've been going throughout this past year. So just a fair warning that the following clip is going to be a bit emotional.
Grown calling for your mother. It's over. That's the tap out. That's the ultimate tap out, So what are your thoughts? Like, did you hear him call out for his mother?
I did. And I heard him, how loud he couldn't breathe. His stomach was hurting. And it's unfortunate. I just don't understand how somebody, like, you're in a position to protect and serve, but in this instance, you didn't protect nor serve nobody but yourself. And the protect part is not even a part of that equation, because he did not have a weapon. He was not being irate or out of control. So what was the reason for this act of violence? For this level of violence? Like, it wasn't cause for. And it's hurtful, because it's just like, that could be any of us.
Yeah. That could be any of us. But if I may kind of elaborate on the whole thought process, may I?
Yes, you may.
So I want you to think about something. You know, because when we yell all lives matter, what does that mean? When I say we, I'm talking about we as a people. But when we specifically say Black Lives Matter, we're talking about a specific group of people that are being killed off, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when people say no, but all lives matter, it's like, but we talking about Black people right now.
Mm-hmm.
So stop trying to dilute what is being said.
Right, right.
But I want you to think about the same people who say all lives matter. Okay? Because these are the same people that hunt animals for fun.
Mm-hmm.
They hunt animals for fun. When he was sitting down there with his knee on George Floyd, it reminded me of how they sit down on a knee and they like kneel on deer after they kill them. And like they might eat that meat, but they're doing it for sport. Like they could go another way of getting meat, but you know what I mean? Sometimes they go out there and they do it just for sport. You got some of the rich people who have the money to go to Africa and poach animals like lions and things of that nature to come back and mount on their walls.
Mm-hmm.
So when they see Black people, they don't see Black people as human. They see them as animals.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll be better off saying all humans matter, but that still ain't even accurate.
That still don't encompass Black people.
That's what I'm saying, though. And if you go back to the Constitution, when the Constitution was originally made, Black people weren't even considered as men. They were considered property.
So that was, to listen back to that episode brought so many emotions from when the George Floyd incident originally happened. But I want to bring us back up, get us a little bit more joyous. So I will say this is like one of my favorite episodes. It has I call her my little sister, but Ty, she is a YouTuber. And I'm just going to keep saying it until she posts new videos. But we talking about the show Insecure. And if y'all watch it, we basically was giving feedback on this last season that we had, that they gave us. You know, recap of each episode individually, which I honestly think we can do each episode individually just because they are so short. And overall, the conversation is going to kind of like gel together.
Yeah.
So in the first episode, Low Key Feeling Myself, Issa is working with Condola. And for those of you who don't know who Condola is an event planner who brings people together.
Mm-hmm.
And for Issa's birthday, they take her to see who is it? Is it Bruce Lee? Not Bruce Lee. It's some karate type movie that she really, really liked. And it's like a outdoor event, like kind of like a drive-in, but it's not a drive-in. It's like people are on the lines, they have the projector up, and all these Black people are here and it's not just Black people. Yeah, it was just Black people. But they were there to watch this movie, and Issa was like, you know, this was a really good event. You know, I'm trying to do a block party. You know, maybe we should link, whatever.
Yeah.
So Condola agrees to, you know, helping out. It sounds like a good idea, you know, whatever. But in the midst of all of this, they find out that Condola is not only a event planner, but she is Lawrence's new love interest.
Of course she is.
And also we have to talk about Molly. Molly is, if you watched season 3, Molly meets Andrew at Coachella in a Molly-induced, a Molly the drug induced type situation.
I was like, they ain't gonna get that.
She meets him at the Coachella last season. And so in this season, she's trying to figure out if there could be more with Andrew.
Mhm.
So my thoughts on the first episode, I thought, well, of course, I was pressed to see it, but I think it was a good opener to know,
Yeah.
Issa is really following through with doing the block party.
Mhm.
And that she meets somebody that kind of knows how to plan something on this grand of a scale.
And I think another thing that needs to be like highlighted that makes the situation a little suckier is that the fact that not only like is she a good event planner, but they actually like liked each other on a friendship level. Like they were bonding a little bit. And like, you know how when you first meet another Black girl and you like, oh, okay, we on the same type tip. Like,
Yeah.
okay, we about to be friends. Like in your head, like we about to be friends. I'm not about to put it out there, but I know we about to be friends.
Yeah.
And that's basically how they was like linking up, and they semi in the same profession too. So just sucked.
Yeah, I was definitely, like, damn, Lawrence, why you had to come fuck this up? Now that we have, lifted our spirits some and talked about the show Insecure, we got to hear like episode 1 and what we thought about it. So definitely, if you've not listened to that episode, tune in so you can hear the rest of the overview. And now I'm gonna speak to one of my favorite couples ever, and that is Ebony and Jeremy. The business aspect of it. So do y'all want to talk about the, working relationship that y'all have as well?
The most difficult aspect of business and marriage. That's difficult. I mean, it's really, really hard. I mean, especially to start, like we had a really, really hard time with separating our business and personal life. I mean, even in terms of our relationship, it was difficult for us to say, okay, we're co-workers now. And then, when 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock came, okay, now we're husband and wife. So it was really difficult for us to take off that hat. Because like you said, when we initially started, we were doing it, essentially from our home, but on the first level of our home.
Yeah.
And so even though there's a separation, there was no separation. And so it's like we would always bring business upstairs. I mean, and then we got to a place where we started to respect those boundaries. Started to institute those boundaries. Where we say, okay, let's leave business downstairs. We're going upstairs. We're husband and wife again. And I mean, we eventually figured it out, but it took a lot of hard work, a lot of grace and mercy for each other, a lot of accepting, a lot of forgiving, because sometimes we would say things that weren't so nice. I mean, it would be business conversations, but we would say things that weren't so nice though. And so it took a lot of hard work.
So out from the outside looking in, I would definitely say that to me, you guys definitely did not portray the, that part of y'all's relationship at work. I kept it very professional. Like, of course, everybody knew who Jeremy was in the salon, but you couldn't tell if y'all was having a riff or whatever.
Right.
And just, feeling like, I know you can't compare, yourself to anybody else, but I definitely looked up to you guys as far as like relationships go. And Eb, how I used to come in there like, ooh, these dudes, they crazy. Like, they so raggedy, whatever. And it would just be like, I definitely admire you all's relationship and commitment to each other.
Right.
That's definitely something that stood out to me about you guys, is that I honestly and truly believe you allow Ebony to follow you, and you exemplified something that she was able to follow.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you're most definitely right. In terms of our commitment, and I think firstly, for me, I really, like I said, I had to commit myself to Christ before I can ever be, the man that that Ebony needed me to be. I had to be the man that God was calling me to be. Because otherwise, I couldn't have made it. There's no way we would be how many years in the game now? 7.
Yeah.
7 years in the game now. Married. If I didn't first recommit my life to the Lord, and I think it's definitely paid dividends. And it's not to say that it hasn't come with its challenges. I mean, marriage is hard work, man. Like no matter what, it's hard work. And people like to glamorize it and make it so pretty. And, you have big elaborate weddings and, these big elaborate engagements. But those things, man, those are only like temporary moments, and you have the rest of that marriage, rest of your life to work through it. So it's come with its challenges, but the one thing is that we've always remained committed to the Lord first and foremost, and then that's allowed us to be committed to each other.
Definitely. Eb.
I mean, it was like Jeremy said, it was challenging in the beginning. It was challenging in the very beginning. And it didn't get easy for a while. Learning your roles and responsibilities. First of all, let's just say we already recorded that we got engaged in 9 months. We got married 3 months after that.
Yeah.
So we weren't engaged for a very long time. So now here we only known each other for 13 months, and we're married. We're living together. He's in his career. I'm in my career. 1 year later, Jeremy decides that, the military, he's going to separate from the military. And immediately we buy a house and start a business at the same time. So in less than 2 years, we've taken some big steps of commitment, period. And then we were leaders at the church.
Yeah.
So we had a lot on our plate. So how things would have looked had we would have done the steps according to society. You get engaged, you stay engaged for a year, y'all get married, so forth and so on. But trying to get to know each other while doing business together. I only knew him as Jeremy because we never worked together.
Yeah.
So for us to join in, I'm a creative and he is very structured. So you have, I'm a zigzag and he's like a straight line. I'm always all over the place, always on to the next, what's new. And it was very challenging because it's worked for me this way for so long. And for him, he's led people and it worked for him that way for so long in his career, learning and respecting each other and in each other's place. Like, that was very, very challenging. I didn't know what he was used to because I didn't know anything about the military. So here I am not addressing the situations as such when he is an expert in IT or he knows about business. Like, I'm great at doing hair, but not knowing a lot in the sense about business. And so it was really challenging because I just want to create. I just want to have a good time. And he's like, we can't always be playing around. Like, we got, there's lawsuits, there's all kind of legal things, And so just really trying to become one outside of marriage. So we're doing business more than we're doing husband and wife.
Mm-hmm.
We were more in ministry. So, ministry was all the time. It didn't matter if whoever called, day, night, afternoon, in the shop, whomever. That's ministry and that's business. And so when we finished work at 7, 8 o'clock at night, we got an hour or two to be husband and wife and then turn right back around and do it all over again. Mm-hmm. So the lines of communication was hard to, they were very blurry because we didn't have time to just grow as husband and wife.
So y'all heard from my favorite couple, Ebony and Jeremy, and what we just heard was basically them explaining like the beginning parts of their marriage and how they navigated having a business together and being husband and wife. And I already know being husband and wife is hard enough. I already know how I feel about the people I work with, and to basically combine the two, more power to them. And I'm just super happy and grateful to have them in my life and know that they know how to work it out. They gonna pray for you and everything else, and I'm here for it. Now that we done kind of talked about some working relationships within a marriage, I know there are a lot of single people who listen to this episode, and so there are also people out there that want to be sugar babies. So I had a sugar baby coach come on the show and give us tips on how to get a sugar daddy or a sugar mama, even though her expertise is, her experiences with sugar daddies, but I'm sure the same applies for you guys that are looking for sugar mamas. Did you, so in college, I don't think you was struggling, like as an athlete, y'all are pretty much taken care of.
Yeah, see, so that's okay. That's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
And we can clarify that now. Like, I've never lived off of a sugar daddy's money. So like I get lots of questions and comments, especially on TikTok and YouTube, like, oh my God, I need money so bad. Oh my God, I need a sugar daddy to pay for my tuition. Oh my God, I have all these student loans. Oh my God, I'm fixing to be homeless, like whatever. That's not what sugar daddies are interested in. They don't care about that. They want a young, pretty, put together female that they can spoil.
Yeah.
Like, and by spoil, you don't even want to use the term spoil anymore because that'll get you banned from sites now. But like, they don't want somebody who they have to give a life to.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They want somebody who already have their life together. So like for me, yes, I was on a full ride. So I literally had like a check coming every semester just of spending money.
Yeah.
So like literally for me, it was just for fun. Like it was like the thrill of it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and the easiness of it. Like me and my friends going on not dinner dates, lunch dates and dinner dates for $500.
Yeah.
I'm sitting at Panera Bread with you in St. John's Town Center for $500. Why wouldn't I keep going on dates? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's the thing that people don't understand when people always be like, do I have to give sugar away? Do I have to do this? Do I have to do that? One, I need you to understand that you don't have to do anything that's going to make you feel uncomfortable with any man ever. Okay. Second of all, people don't understand that men have insecurities. Every man has insecurities. And you have to understand the depth of these men that are on these sites. So seeking arrangement, for example, I'm not sure what the fee for the men is now, but I know at a time it was a minimum of $80 for men to just have access to see the sugar babies on the site versus for women, it's free.
Yeah.
So you're dealing with men who are paying $80 minimum a month to look at girls and try to spend money on girls, or I guess in some case have sex with girls for money. You have to truly think from, once again, I'm always thinking from a business and technical perspective. What are these people going through in their life that drew them to spending $80 to $100 a month on a membership to look at women that they might still never meet?
Yeah.
So the fact that you even question what you allow or what you're comfortable with, or you think that you have to do something like that'll make you uncomfortable just to get this type of man, you going at this shit all the wrong way. Yeah. You're the one that's in control from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I try to teach girls. It's like, you're the prize. They try to make it seem like they're the prize because they're the ones that's going to give you money, or they give you a car, or they give you this, or they give you that. Like, they have to do that for your attention.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So like, that's the thing that, like, I don't even remember what the question was, but like that's like the basis. Like, people don't understand like sugaring it all. Like, one thing that I have answered, I know at least 3 times this week, and I mention all the time within the sugar baby group that I have. So I have a group me chat.
Okay.
Is like, a lot of girls will ask like, what should I say to this, or how should I react to this? And it'll be something super inappropriate, right? Just stupid. Okay. But say they say something inappropriate, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you talking to a guy, say you meet a guy at the store or whatever, and you give him your number, y'all talking, and then he say some off the wall shit to you, right? Some inappropriate shit. Your natural reaction is either going to be, you're going to go off, you're going to block him, or you're not going to text back.
Right.
So when a sugar daddy does it, sugar daddy in parentheses. Say that again.
I said I'm going for no text.
I didn't hear
for Alex.
You feel me? You're never talking to me again. You're getting blocked, boo. It's gonna turn green when you text me, okay?
Right.
So like, so like if that happens, that's how you gonna react.
Yeah, Dash definitely was dropping gems that episode as far as letting us know what steps to take when you're trying to become a sugar baby, and the whole giving sugar. I know, because that's a question I have had before. Like, am I going to have to give something up to get something from them? But I think it just normal rules. If it's something you don't feel comfortable with doing, then guess what, boo? You do not have to do that. So if that's what you want, go ahead, listen to the rest of that episode so you can hear everything. And that is going to wrap it up for this season's highest listened to episodes, and of course my favorite episodes this season. It was definitely a great year. I never thought in a million years that I would have 42 episodes done, just from diligently working. Like, there were times where I felt tired when I had schoolwork to get done, but because this is what I feel passionate about, this is what I enjoy doing, it didn't feel like work, and I didn't mind staying up hella late to get it done or waking up hella early to make sure the episode was ready for y'all to listen to. So I appreciate the continuous support. If you love my show, you want to tell people about it, please do. Let me get these listeners and these followers up, guys. So, I didn't post any of the letters because I did have some letters this season, and I started reading letters just submitted to other people for advice, because y'all may feel it's too close for comfort for me to know y'all business, and that's okay. But when y'all feel comfortable, y'all can email me or DM me. My email is attached to my Instagram, so if you hit the email, it will come to me. But my email is keekingwithcocopod@gmail.com. I also have my I'm Black 25/8 t-shirts, and you have literally, I think once this airs, you'll have one day to get the end of year sale, which is giving, I believe, 40% off. So go ahead, get your I'm Black 25/8 t-shirt. And also, I keep saying, I have some stuff going on, that's going to drop at the beginning of the year, but I'm going to go ahead and say it now. This month, in the month of January, I am going to launch my shot glasses to go along with my Drink with Coco segment, and they say Drink with Coco. So now, not only can my Black listeners, support me, but everybody can support me now. Everybody like taking shots. Everybody collect shot glasses. So get your shot glasses. They will be on the website in a couple, like maybe 2 weeks at the most. But go ahead, get that. And then, as always, I appreciate you guys' support. I appreciate y'all listening. And I will see you guys next year.